It's 6 o'clock. We're going to go in and get started with our meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. This is our November meeting, and we don't have a whole lot of things on the agenda tonight, but we do have some important things to talk about. Before we get started, though, if you'll please join me in a moment of silence. Amen. If you'll please stand with me and face the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I know everybody's wanting to get home so they can watch the polls tonight, so we'll try to get through the meeting as quickly as possible. Al, could you please introduce the conflict of interest statement?
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes and the Town of Mocksville Code of Ethics Policy, I ask each elected official, before you adopt the agenda, if there is any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest with respect to any matter on the proposed agenda which is before you tonight. If so, please speak up and let the board know at this time before the agenda is adopted.
Al, on the public hearing B on the right-of-way, I will recuse myself from that, and Rob will be taking over that portion.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, then we'll move right along with our adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion from Rob and a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. The next item on our agenda is citizen comments. If anybody's here tonight that would like to speak, you're welcome to step up to the podium and just state your name, and you've got 3 minutes to speak. And I think Alice might be on our list.
I'm here tonight, Alice Brown, representing Heritage Alliance Project, preserving history and advocating for safety and beautification. I want to speak on behalf of the fire department and how much we appreciate what they did for us on October the 12th, which was Fire Safety Week. And before I get into that, I do want to say that this event was held downtown at the Corner Pavilion, and before we got into the main event for the morning, Teresa Johnson and Karen Brownlow represented the Master Gardeners, and they let us know what they do downtown. And I understand from some people they've already gotten some good collards out of that foodscape downtown. I want to say Kadu first to Chief Carter. When I approached him, he was very receptive to the idea and said one of the things that he would do for us was not only send some personnel, but provide some door prizes. So that was a big hit to have some fire extinguishers and smoke alarms. But most of all, the fire safety was the main event. And I want to say, whoever had that adage, a picture's 1,000 words, is worth 1,000 words. Tammy Tatum took our pictures and put it on Facebook. Then she took this article and sent it to the Enterprise. And Mike Barnhart printed it with the caption, "Firefighters Helping Prevent Emergencies." And so Lori at Able Printed and Laminated this for me today, and I'm glad to bring it. We had with us our newly hired captain, C.J. Dwiggins, and we had firefighters Bryson Collins, Matthew Turney, and Brandon Johnson. What took place that was so important and was so appreciated was a lot of good information from Captain Dwiggins, and then we went into CPR that was handed by Bryson. Am I right? And then it ended up with them doing a demonstration not only on CPR, but on automated external defibrillator. I have to learn how to say that, AED. And so we really appreciate that, and I just want to let everybody know how much we do. It meant a lot to the community, and it looked like the firefighters were enjoying themselves, socializing with us too. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice, and thank you, CJ, for representing the fire department there, making that happen. Any other citizen comments? Okay. If not, then we'll close that portion of our meeting and move right on to our public hearings. Our first public hearing, I think, is a continuation from our last meeting. I think Johnny Easter has got some information from the planning board, and we'll move on with the first public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Tonight I'm representing again the text amendment for the zoning ordinance to define, to add to the table of uses and to add the specific conditions for planned mixed conditional development, a PMCD. We discussed this on a couple of meetings at the planning board and added some of the requested changes to amend things. But overall, what we're looking at is a group to allow developers to do kind of a mixed use development with low impact businesses with single family residential or multifamily residential with open space. All of these would go through, this would affect some of the major changes in it. Was the minimum lot size was changed when it was originally presented to 20 acres. Now it's 4 contiguous acres. That was one of the changes. Some of the things what we can address with this is any residential or any business uses, non-residential, would have to be approved by this board as a part of the rezoning process. We're requiring open space. 15% of the common area would have to be open space for the development. We're looking at adding and requiring sidewalks with connectivity to the properties. We're looking for curb and gutter in the development. So in essence, what it is, it gives the developer in the town a little bit more of aesthetic control and looking at what some of the subdivisions look like, and a better input from us in this board to allow for better flexibility in the zoning, in the development, with us having a little bit of design standards with this. So I know we presented last time you've had it. Is there any questions or any comments or concerns that we can address at this time?
Any questions from the board? Okay. Okay.
Mayor, I do have one technical item. If the board moves to approve this, there are a couple of things in here that you will not want to include. There's a, in the definitions section, at the last sentence, it has a zoning of AG being included in that. That should not be there. And then if you move on to page 2, actually the third page, the top paragraph, there's a note that should not have been included in the moving the ordinance language over. So it starts note, residential subdivision streets rights of way.
So
So
scratch the
those
note.
two things should not be included in the final approval if the board decides to move forward.
Any questions for Ken on those changes? You see what, Jenny, do you see where that is? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So at this time, Al, just to make sure I'm straight, we're to open up the public hearing. It's a continuation from the last meeting,
Yes.
just like we did last time.
Yes.
Yes.
Ken, what was the first one under definition?
Yes, under 8-3.10.3, the last, next to the last sentence, it includes AG as a zoning district that it applies to. That should not be in there.
Yeah, right there.
It's already been struck on the one I have.
Okay, well,
It's on
is it on yours?
It is.
Okay.
We'll all
I don't know how this got passed, but just wanted to make sure that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so at this time, we will open the public hearing, and the way that works is if there's anybody here that would like to speak in favor or against the text amendments, this would be the time to do it. So I would open up the public hearing. If anybody would like to step up to the podium, you've got 3 minutes to speak in favor or against. And this time, if anybody at all would like to speak for it or against it, you're welcome to step to the podium. If not, then we'll close the public hearing and go back to the board. And does the board have any other questions for Johnny, Al, or Ken? If not, then if you look at item number 3 on your agenda, we just need a motion to adopt the zoning amendment and to consider the statement of consistency.
Just a moment.
That's fine, take your time.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Okay, we have a motion from Carl to adopt the zoning text amendment.
Do we need to do those separately, or?
Whichever, that's fine. We can do them separately unless you would like to include, to adopt the statement of consistency. in the
And,
motion.
motion to adopt both the statement of consistency and zoning amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second from Justin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. The next item, I'll turn it over to Rob.
Okay, section B, under the public hearings, is for the purpose of permanently closing an undedicated right-of-way in Clement Crest subdivision. Ken, you're handling that, is that correct?
am. Okay, so this is from a this is the current GIS map, but the situation is from a 1946 plat where rights of way were dedicated with the expectation that development would move past South Main Street. That never happened. We received a written request from property owners back in September to close those right-of-ways, which include, if you look on the north side, the two bigger pieces are 40-foot right-of-ways, and then the one that runs north to south is a 10-foot alleyway. So the request has been made. The board considered this at the last meeting, decided to advertise a public hearing. That public hearing has been duly advertised, and the property has been posted as required by statute. So we are here tonight to talk about the closure of the right-of-way. I have not had any calls from any property owners involved who say that this would be a hardship for them or that they are opposed to it. The only real impact this has is for the adjacent property owners. And what happens is, if you have a property owner to either side of that 40-foot right-of-way, one of the property owners gets 20 feet, the other property owner gets the other 20 feet. It goes back into private property ownership.
All right, so we
And
need
I'll
to
be
go
happy
ahead.
to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Ken on the proposed public hearing? All right, so we'll open that up for a public hearing. Is there anyone here who wants to speak in favor of permanently closing the undedicated right-of-way in the Clement Crest subdivision? If so, please approach the podium and speak. Ms. Foster, good to see you.
Yes, my name is Marjorie Foster with Premier Realty, and I do represent the current seller of the property at 792, which touches one of the 40-foot right-of-ways next to the old Builder Supply, or Just Hope as it is now, I guess it is. And also the seller of the third house. They are related, or one and the same. And in selling this has come up, this is where this problem came from. I've got undedicated space beside the house that could be used because it's an undedicated area, but it's just messy from here on out, that no one owns those spaces. the 10-foot right-of-way behind. I presented you with letters from the homeowners saying that they would prefer that those be closed, and I know that Mayor Markland is part ownership with this as well, so we've discussed it as well. So I hope that you'll just pass this and clean this off the books and get it to let them use it as a driveway and be dedicated with the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Foster. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of the public hearing? Anyone who'd like to speak opposed to the permanent closure of the undedicated right-of-ways in the Clement Crest subdivision? All right, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and we'll send that to the board to consider the ordinance to permanently close the undedicated right-of-way.
Got a motion?
I make a motion.
We have a motion from Jenny,
It's fine.
second from Justin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you, Rob. So moving on the agenda, the next item on our agenda is our Mocksville Coolme ABC audit. I think we have tonight Marcia Hendrickson with us, and she's going to introduce that audit.
I guess y'all all got a little booklet. I wasn't gonna go through the whole booklet. I was just gonna go over what I thought was probably important to you, but if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. The one thing I'd tell you is their sales this year were $4,038,000, which was an increase. Last year's sales was $3,961,000. Our profit before any distributions was $270,295, as opposed to $311,177. And probably the most important thing is the town of Mocksville received distributions of $138,572 in this fiscal year. And the other thing I was going to tell you is in the notes on back, it talks about distributions since the Mocksville Coolme ABC board started, and altogether Mocksville's general fund has received $341,822. So that's a good thing. So, but everything's good. I would say the other thing I would say is they have been working on paying down their debt, and this year they've gotten $54,000 of that paid off. So in addition to the distributions, they're working on paying down the debt. So. Any questions at all?
So I'm just curious, and it may be in here, and I didn't see it. How much debt do they have left?
It's like 200, let me find it real quick, I'll tell you.
Just
On page 6 of the management discussion and analysis, their notes started at 336 at the beginning of the year, and they got 282 left.
Okay.
And so they paid off 54,000, and I know they're paying extra each month trying to get that paid off. So
Okay, good deal. Any other questions for Marcia? Thank you for coming tonight, we appreciate it.
you're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. So our next item on the agenda is our finance policy presentation from Raina Gay.
I'm not really sure why that's there for
Okay.
that, because I believe that's in December, because I have, A, B, C, and D, so I apologize.
Okay, so we're good, we're moving right along then. Next item is our consent agenda. That's our minutes from our past meetings, financials, tax releases, and so on.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Carl,
Second.
second from Rob. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. There's no old business tonight. Moving right on to new business. Then we move into consider adopting amended electronic payments resolution. Then we have Raina.
Good evening, Mayor Will and Board. I apologize. So, there are 2 agenda items this evening the board will be taking action on, and I would like to outline these items in this PowerPoint for you. These will be agenda items A, B, C, and D that you will be taking action on. The first agenda item will be in regards to adopt an electronic transaction policy with resolution, and the second agenda item will be cash management and investment of public funds, also with a resolution. We require an electronic payment policy because it establishes clear guidelines and procedures for managing electronic transactions efficiently and securely. Establishing a clear electronic payment policy is crucial for effective management of electronic transactions. The policy provides a structured framework that ensures efficiency, security, and compliance in all electronic financial transactions. Adopting an electronic transaction policy is essential to protect public funds, promote best practices, and maintain compliance with state regulations. An example of electronic payment is the use of a credit card or a fuel card. Electronic payments have been proven to be a cost-effective method of obtaining low-cost supply and service items for the town of Mocksville. Some travel and training costs may also be handled best through using a credit card to make these payments online. Also, it is critical that public investment officials have an updated investment policy and comprehensive cash management and investment framework to ensure the safety of public funds. When investing public funds, it is essential to follow a disciplined legal framework that ensures prudent and effective management of investments. This framework must adhere to all applicable state and local laws. Ethical considerations play a role, including the avoidance of conflicts of interest and always prioritizing the public's best interest. Effective risk management is also critical, with an emphasis on capital preservation through low-risk investments, while diversification helps mitigate potential risks. When investing in public funds, it is very important to maintain regular reporting and transparent communication with public officials and citizens to foster trust and ensure proper oversight. Professionalism is essential in making sound investment decisions, while yield remains important. Liquidity should be prioritized to ensure funds are accessible in case of an emergency. However, it is still important to aim for the safest possible investment that offers a reasonable return. Additionally, continuously monitoring the portfolio and adjusting to market changes is key to meeting financial objectives. Following these guidelines ensures secure, responsible, and effective management of public funds. Here you can see our 3 main accounts. The yellow column shows the interest earned only. The orange column indicates the projected return if the funds had not been moved to capital management. The advantages of capital management investment accounts include higher interest rates for enhanced returns, effective capital allocation that maximizes every dollar, and robust risk management that balances returns with stability. Although capital management is the most secure, the interest fluctuates as any other investment account. We've had a good interest rate, and the above numbers reflect fiscal year 23-24, and then FY 24-25 interest rates seem stable at this time, but unfortunately we anticipate that they will go down in 25-26 fiscal year. Capital management accounts also provide enhanced liquidity for easy access to funds and support long-term growth. Ensuring better overall financial outcomes by following these principles, we ensure the secure and responsible management of public funds. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay. So Raina, I do have a question. The process that we're going to go through here, we've got 4 different things.
Yes.
This first presentation that you've made, that's to consider adopting amended electronic payments resolution.
Yes.
The board will need to make a motion to adopt amended resolution for electronic payments
That
and
is
do
correct.
it kind of in order.
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Okay. Does the board have any questions? So you'll notice board, item number A, to consider adopting amended electronics payment resolution. That's what she just presented. We just need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Rob and a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Item number B, consider adopting amended electronic payment policy.
Move to adopt.
Motion from Rob, a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That passes. Item number C, consider adopting amended cash management and investment resolution.
So moved.
I have a motion from Justin, a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And finally, item number D, consider adopting amended cash management investment policy.
So moved.
Rob, second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you, Ron.
Next item, item number E for Emily, consider adopting amended personnel policy and procedure manual.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
So we're gonna start with, so tonight will be presenting the recommended personnel policy updates for this year. So it's in your board packet on pages 79 through 83.
Thank you so much for page.
So I do have 9 to present, and these are ones that I have reviewed throughout the year that have come across or come to my attention that need to be updated or changed. So the first one is a revision to the part-time wages. So it revises the policy to state how part-time wages will be determined. So the town pays market rate for part-time employees. Part-time employees are not designated a pay grade like our full-time staff. So we have a minimum base pay rate set by the board for our public works, parks and grounds, and our fire. So we do not, as just stated, we do not include them in our classification schedule. So they are at market rate, and that is just best practices while we do that.
Okay.
So that's the first one. And then the second one is a revision to make the policy more clear that developmental increases will be given if overall performance is at minimum meets expectation. So this is not a change, or it's just really just to clarify our policy that we already have. So instead of employee is rated meets expectations and higher in all performance factors, it will read employee is rated at a minimum meets expectations. So it's just to clarify, it's not a change.
Okay. So if the board has any questions as we go
Yes,
through
please.
these, please ask her as
Yes.
we go.
And I'll kind of pause it, that way we can do that. We can do it after each one. That'd be fine, yeah. Because I know it's a lot, there's 9, so. So the third one is a revision to make the policy align with what the town would do moving forward in response to board feedback regarding employee compensation. Currently, the policy states employees can only receive merit increases once they achieve that midpoint. Employees will now be eligible for future increases or one-time payments in the form of a merit increase, even if they have not reached the midpoint range. So that is a change, because we do have the minimum, the midpoint, and the max. And before, it was a DI that was given from the minimum to the midpoint. So now that we've clarified so that they can get, or made a change so they can get a merit increase during that part. Okay. So the fourth revision is 2 parts, and so we'll look at A. So this revision is to update the policy to align with our current fire staffing needs and to allow for a non-shift firefighter schedule to work a standard 40-hour work week to earn overtime for all hours over 40. So that is a law, that's FLSA, that any hours worked over 40, we have to give them overtime. So currently we had that all of our firefighters were shift, and now we do have, our captain is non-shift. So we needed to update our policy for that position. And the second part B of that is that to allow firefighters to carry over 24 hours of comp time to the next fiscal year. And the reason that's important is because firefighters have short weeks, and so they don't have enough hours. They won't work that many hours, and they have to get 106 in the pay period. So if they're short, say, which is usually a short to 96, they need 10 hours to get to that 106. Because if they don't, then they won't make their salary. So that's why it's important to allow them to carry over. If we bring them down to a 0 balance, they would have to use like their sick time or their vacation, so. Okay. All right, number 5, rule number 5. So this is a recommended change, changing public services, the name, to Public Works in our policy manual. Brian Moore has recommended the department name be changed from Public Services to Public Works. The department was originally called Public Works, and then it got changed, and it never stuck. So this is why we want to change it back to Public Works. So there's actually only one time in the policy where it references services. So that's something that we would like to move forward with as well, or we're recommending. Okay. Number 6 is a revision to the policy to align with what we are currently doing. Employees receive special consideration for salary adjustments following the completion of a certification or degree. So that's what we're currently doing. Our current policy states employees shall be considered for salary adjustments at the annual evaluation following completion of a certification or degree at the next evaluation. So the way it reads is we're looking back, and then they have to wait, and then it's not pre-planned. So that's the way the policy reads. But the way we're doing it works much better in the fact that we're pre-planning ahead of time. We're setting goals for employees. We know exactly what they're doing. Their certifications or the degrees that they're getting is in line with organizational goals, with the town goals, and it's great for the employee as far as doing their job. Everything must be job related. So with that, so these are also during the budget year, the employee shall be considered for the salary increase once it's achieved, not waiting for the next evaluation. So an example of that would be for fire and administration staff where there's no career ladder. Our Parks and Grounds and Public Works, they have a career ladder. So it's already built in. So once they achieve that goal, which they're also set at the beginning of the year at their performance evaluation, once that's achieved, then they go ahead and get that increase. But fire department and admin, the way the policy is written, it doesn't state that. But the way we're doing it is they are getting the increases pre-planned and getting it when they achieve it. So it's just clarifying what we're already doing. Okay, number 7. So this is a revision to the firearms policy, and this is to add clarity on what is prohibited and allowed. So this came across to me because when I do the onboarding, that people have a lot of questions, can I carry a firearm? What can I do? What can I not do? So with this, I added in to be more specific. And so employees are prohibited from carrying any firearms concealed or openly while on duty. And so I added the building, town building, town work sites, town-owned vehicles, town-owned property, or while in the course of carrying out town duties. I did add in this does not apply to firearms locked in personal vehicles on town-owned lots or employees who are authorized to carry firearms. Okay, got 2 more. So number 8. So this one's really simple. It's just to clarify the sick leave transfers. So sometimes employees come to us and the previous employer was not local government. So maybe they only worked there for 3 months, but they had just come from, prior to that, a local government agency. So we wanted to clarify by adding a little S to know that we will take that sick leave from that local government employer. So just a little minor thing, but just to make it read correctly. And lastly, 2 parts here. Part A is update the plan sponsor name from Prudential to Empower, and to update the website address, because now Prudential is now Empower. And also, this is a new law will take into effect January 1st of 2025. And this revises the 401k plan to include the expanded eligibility. So currently, the employees are full-time staff that contribute to the Orbit retirement system, and part-time employees that contribute to the Orbit retirement system, they contribute to the 401k. But otherwise, part-time employees that do not, they don't get to contribute. So this law expands it. So all employees will be eligible to participate in the North Carolina 401k, so they can make voluntary contributions. But this does not expand the employer contribution requirement. So the town would not be doing a match, but we would allow them the opportunity to contribute to the 401k. And that is a law that's changing as of January 1st. And I think that's all I have. Please let me know what questions or concerns. I'd be happy to speak on any of it.
Any questions for Emily?
Back to page 23, the first one. Wage within the designated pay grade or market rate.
Okay,
Talk to me about the difference.
sure. For the part-time, okay. So with the part-time pay, so currently,
What might that look like?
well, okay, so what we're doing right now is a minimum base pay. So I wanna say that it's like $15 is what the base pay is. And so instead of it being from the salary schedule of, say, we'll use, Parks and Grounds technician for an example. So they would not come in at the same rate as a full-time, Parks and Grounds technician. They would be coming in at whatever the market rate was set. And that's controlled by, by the board. And so it's $15 an hour coming in is what that would be, instead of looking at the salary schedule, which is what I use for all our full-time staff. And so it would just be what's market rate. And the reason that is because it's just best practice. And that's what, when we did our pay study, that came across, and that was what we reviewed and looked at, and that was best practice at the time. And that's when we made the change.
Did that answer your question? Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank y'all, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, Emily, looks like we're gonna be considering adopting amended personnel policy and procedure manual.
Yeah,
And
okay,
then we'll look at item number F, which is consider adopting amended classification salary scale.
sure, yes. Okay.
So does anybody have any questions for either of those? Then we just need a motion to approve to move forward.
So moved.
A motion from Rob and a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's item E. Item number F, consider adopting amended classification salary schedule.
Yes, so what this pertains to is still the public, basically it's just changing public services to public works on the salary schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Okay, that's pretty cut and dry.
Move that we adopt.
Motion from Rob and a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Next, item number G, consider corporate limits change during the fiscal year 23-24 PAL bill reporting for street maintenance.
Once again. All right. Hi, Mayor and Board. In your package, on your packet, on page 86, you'll find a memorandum regarding the Powell Bill corporate limit revisions for street maintenance. This memo addresses municipal street mileage as of July 1st, 2024, and outlines the eligible street mileage in accordance with NCGS 136-41.1. Brian Moore, our Public Works Director, and Chuck Willis from Willis Engineers conducted a thorough review of the town streets. In fiscal year 22-23, total miles were 32.55. In fiscal year 23-24, total miles were 34.07. Our corporate limits have increased by a little over a mile and a half, and highlighted on the memo are the revisions corresponding to the additional mileage. Any questions?
Any questions on that? If not, then we'll just need a motion to adopt the additional PAL bill reporting for street maintenance. Motion from Carl, second from Justin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes. Thank you, Brandon. And finally, consider authorization to apply for a CDBG building reuse grant to support Project Roo. Yeah.
Yes, this is actually not a full grant application. It is a pre-application. But since my last board meeting will be with you all next month, I didn't want this to come through the process and you not know what's going on. Terry has a project he's working on the 500,000 square foot building. They have a company that's interested in doing that. They have done the pre-application for the CDBG grant. If that project moves forward, sometime down the road in the next couple of months, you'll get a full application. But I wanted the board to know that we had submitted a pre-application to assist the company in getting upfits for the building.
So with that being said, Ken, do we need a motion to approve authorization at
No,
this
not
time?
necessarily.
Okay.
But if you want to, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. It's whatever the board would like to do on that. if we did that tonight, would that, push it forward?
No, you would still have to approve the full application for CDBG, because then you're basically asking for the money then. We're not on the hook for anything right now.
Okay, so I think the mood of the board is just to wait until that comes before us. Okay, moving on, next item is communications from town staff. Town Attorney Al Benchoff, do you have anything to communicate tonight?
I have two things to communicate. Thank you, Mayor. It's a best practice that the town's rules, ordinances, and policies reflect what the staff actually does instead of the other way around. And I want to thank Raina and Emily for amending the town's policies to comply with the law and to comply with what people actually do. Because selfishly, in the long run, that makes my job easier if I ever have to defend those policies and practices. And the other thing I'd like to say is that unless you've been living under a rock, we all know this is election day today. For the first time in my life, I know 4 poll workers, some quite well and some not so well. And the poll workers are mostly temporary, part-time people. They do it out of a sense of duty and because their friends do it. But they also suffer a lot of abuse. And if you know any poll workers, this would be a good week to congratulate them for their service. That's it.
Thank you, Al. Ken?
Yes, I have a couple of things. First, though, I'd like CJ to come up and update us on our the team that we sent out to Western North Carolina to assist.
Bear with me for just a moment here. Is that a USB?
It should be on the side.
There's one. 1 second. We'll move the mouse. There we go.
You may need to just close those both out altogether.
Let's try this here. There we go. Make sure we're gonna work here. Interesting. Well, maybe. Bear with me for just a moment, I apologize. You're seeing,
Close the other two PowerPoints all the way out.
that's what I'm,
That might
Some
be the
sides of the
problem.
interstate just looked off.
yeah, that might be part of my issue.
That's how I was expecting it to be. But I'm sure I didn't see the worst, really worst of it, yeah.
Let's not save that. I'm still not.
One time said that.
Up there was one that was open. I found one that was.
Yeah, just click.
Yep. Okay, now
That looks more promising.
we're cooking with gas. All right. All right, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, thank you for allowing me to take a moment of your time. I just wanted to pass along from Chief Carter, thank you for allowing us to the chance to deploy for Hurricane Helene and kind of give you a little bit of a report on our actions and what we did. We did send 3 members up for a period of 72 hours to the town of Marshall. I chose this picture to start with because this is some of the beauty that's still on display in Western North Carolina. We were being shown around by
by the town firefighters there, and we stumbled across this spot in a development on the side of a mountain, and had a chance to just stop and just gaze at the beauty in front of us in western North Carolina still. But we did send 3 firefighters, one of them being myself, up for a period of 72 hours. Myself, firefighter Ryan Hall, one of our full-timers, and a volunteer firefighter, Michael Gallagher. We call him Mikey. But we had a chance to spend some time in the town of Marshall, and to get to be a part of the emergency response there, and to kind of help support some logistics I'll get into in a moment. But this was a pretty neat little picture that we were able to actually do a birthday fire truck show for that little boy that's being held there at 9 o'clock at night after a medical call. We ran a medical call assisting the fire department there, and we had to go to the end of this long driveway. Any of y'all been in the mountains, you know the roads up there. And so we had to go to the end of this long road and turn around. And whenever we did, we encountered some people having a hurricane party, and they were having fun. And then they came out and they said, "Oh, it's this kid's birthday." So we took an opportunity to give him a little fire truck show for his birthday, and try to make his day a little bit better. So that's one of the pictures that we took. As far as our actions while we were there, we were deployed from 10-4 to 10-6. We anticipated a little bit longer deployment. We were rostered from the state for up to a week, and we prepared to be self-sufficient for 72 hours with supplies, so that we could be, like I said, self-sufficient. But we were as deployments go, this was a rather easy one because of the work that had already been done before we got there. The town of Marshall was very, very receptive to us. The fire department there and the town, much like us, a small, close-knit community. A mother and her 2 daughters were the fire chief and the 2 captains in town. I said, I feel like we stumbled upon Davie County in the mountains. And so we were able to fall in with the locals very quickly, and to support them in emergency responses. We actually ran a CPR and a house fire, a working house fire while we were there. And I think we ran a lift assist as well. We were deployed with the town of Kings Mountain for a short period of time, and but we did provide emergency response support for them. We acted as the town of Marshall Fire Department for that period, giving their guys a break. We also helped provide some logistical support for them. In addition to providing emergency response, they were also running a food and supply depot out of Asheville Buncombe Tech Madison campus. And so that's where we were stationed at, and we helped backfill them so that they could provide supplies to their residents there. And at the bottom picture there is firefighter Gallagher we had to unload a 53-foot tractor trailer that was slam full. We had to unload it in 2 hours. And so my guys did a fantastic job. They stepped up and worked hours on end with little to no food. I think that day that picture was taken, we had a cold Chick-fil-A sandwich for lunch, and we finally got to eat supper at about 2 a.m. after the fire. But it was an amazing sight to see. The top picture there is of an area in Marshall called Rollins Road. This was a highly occupied area. It was an area just outside of their downtown. If you don't know much about the downtown Marshall area, it looks much like our downtown, but it's about 20 feet from the French Broad River. And so there's literally the river, the railroad tracks, and all the buildings. Standing in the fire station, they had just got done raking the mud out. There was 3 feet of mud inside the fire station. And it was complete devastation downtown. The buildings were there, but the windows and doors were gone, and everything in them was gone, and there was just mud left over. But we were able to, we did some site survey stuff. We assisted with some land search. Basically, we had to just scour the river and make sure that there was not anybody still, that could potentially be in the water. So we assisted with that, and then just surveying some of the damage. But there were areas there that were untouched. We would go out of the downtown area, and it would look like nothing had ever happened, and there had never been a storm. And then I have a couple more pictures. This is on the picture on the right is the 2 of the captains that we worked with from the town of Marshall. They're the sisters that we this is after our house fire. We traveled almost to the Tennessee state line. Took us about 35, 40 minutes to get to this fire, and then another 15 minutes to hike in. So this was another development that was on the side of a mountain that had about 700 homes in it, yeah, we had to park and hike in, but and once we got there, we figured that by the time we got there, we wouldn't be able to fight fire, or there wouldn't be anything left, and we still went through 3 air bottles. So it was a pretty good sized home and a well involved fire that we did get a chance to get in some work. So, we do thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to deploy, and hopefully we look forward to doing this in the future to help other agencies out, and to be of assistance to other towns and municipalities. I mentioned that our deployment was kind of short. There was a little bit of logistical. The town fire chief, in talks with the state and whatnot, they're the people there are very self-sufficient, or they try to be, and so at a certain point they decided that she thought that they would be okay, that everything had kind of returned back to normal, and so we were demobilized just a little bit early. But since then, me and the guys here, we've continued providing equipment for them. We helped to track down some much-needed thermal imaging cameras for them, as well as radios. I worked with Hasty Fire Department in Davidson County to get them VHF radios, which a little bit on our radio system. We used to use VHF radios. We do not anymore, and so we were able to help to coordinate getting them some communication equipment, as well as some equipment that they lost whenever the storm washed it away. So, and we're continuing to kind of keep in touch with those guys in Marshall, so that we can do what we can to help them. We've even been in talks with them about going back, kind of, some of us going unofficially and assisting them in the future, if the need should arise again, if they need a break. So, but like I said, I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
So is the firefighter on the far right flashing the sign for Mocksville?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's supposed to be an M. The guy second from the right, he is a paid firefighter for Asheville, and he just got hired at Asheville and was a volunteer at Marshall, and that was his very first fire. We took him to his first fire. He was riding with us. Basically, we had a rider with us in the truck so that we could navigate, because we ended up on Lower Paw Paw Road in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know where we were going, and so he was our navigator, and we were able to take him to his first fire. And we're like, he works for a major municipality, and he'd not been to a fire yet, so we got to take him to his first one on a Mocksville fire engine. So, and the town of Marshall firefighters were very appreciative, and we really enjoyed working with them. They were very fun to work with. So,
Well, thank you for representing Mocksville.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, CJ.
So Mayor, briefly, there's a few other items, not as part of your packet, but as for information. Pat Ivy has a reception on November 22nd. We've already registered the mayor for it. If anybody else wants to go to this, Pat Ivy has done some great work for Davie County and the area. Just let Emily know. We have to register people by the 8th, though. So if you want to go, let her know tonight before you leave. I also wanted to remind everybody that the town employee Christmas luncheon is December 10th. It'll be at our new facility right there across the street from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So come on out and enjoy time with town staff. We always have fun. Lynn does a great job with the games and everything, and of course Raina and Emily help out too. So we're very fortunate to have not only a great group of employees, but employees who like actually spending time together. So that's an advantage. The final thing, this big old packet came from the Army Corps of Engineers. So there is a required that they have to send this out to the different governing boards in Davie County. So this is your opportunity as an elected official to formally comment on the Baltimore Road NCOD project. So in this packet, you'll find a synopsis of what the Army Corps of Engineers has done. If you want to submit public comments, that is on the last page of the memo. That's on the front part before the diagrams of the project. And you have until 5 PM on November 21st to do that if you so desire. And Mayor, that is all I have.
Any questions for Ken? If not, communications from the board. Jenny, do you have anything?
Just want to say thank you to the firefighters, for our community and outreach. And congratulations again, Miss Emily.
Thank you.
Jake, I'm good.
Kudos to the fire department as always. And, Counselor, I'm married to one of those poll workers, so I appreciate the sentiment. It can be trying at times.
Justin?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so the only thing that I would like to finish up on, I know that we had, I checked with a company that does, that can track folks coming into town, and from his tracking, we had close to 5,000 folks here for Halloween, and that was just cell phones there. And I know for every cell phone man and wife, there were at least 2 or 3 kids. So I'm estimating closer to 10,000. We had a whole bunch of people in town for Halloween. I thought that the town and everybody that worked to make it happen did a great job. The sheriff's department, public works, everybody that contributed in on that, it was a great day. So thanks for all that. Jeanette and I had the opportunity to be on Fox 8 this past week to kind of highlight the town. That kind of came out of nowhere, but that it worked out good. So, but I am proud to highlight our town and all that we have to offer. So, with that being said, we do need to go into a closed session.
Yep, I would move that we enter closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A3 and 6 to preserve attorney-client privilege.
Have a motion from Rob, second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're still in open session. If we could get a motion to accept the contract, or we need a motion to put, Ken, how do we need it?
Motion to approve the interim manager contract.
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
We have a motion from Justin, a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Rob, a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, we're adjourned.